Genshin Go baby, what's good guys? Yoku here, and there was a video that I saw from Toshi. Title was that Silverwolf is now the Kazuha, just became the Kazuha of Genshin Impact. And I thought about that, and I was already explaining that in multiple videos and multiple conversations that I had. I was already explaining, but when I saw the title, it really stood out to me that I think that phrase, that sentence alone has so much more meaning to it that isn't explained. It's not explained in a way that everybody understands it. Whether or not you know who Kazuha is or not necessarily irrelevant. I'll explain it, but that goes into everything that I'm about to talk about here. But in today's video, I'm really going to get down into the nitty gritty about why I do think that statement that Silverwolf just became the Kazuha of Honkai Star Rail has a lot more meaning to it. Little backstory for those that don't know, Kazuha is a character that came out in Genshin Impact maybe about a year after its release, and it was a very critical moment within that time's lifespan. Looking at the kit, either pre-release or whatever the case may be, leaks, however you want to name it, Genshin Impact players, the content creators at that time, had a very odd way of going about making videos or talking about characters. And the particular thing that I'm going to mention here is the fact that they looked at a character, and if the character was not openly offensive, if they were not oppressively offensive, better than the last character that was just released, they were a new DPS character, then they really didn't look at the class as something that was universal or strong. Zhongli got buffed, and it was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, if the character doesn't do anything better than Zhongli as far as defensively, I don't need him on my team. I only need offense. You need a Zhongli, and then you need a bunch of offense. That could be wrong from other people's mouths. That's just how I found it from the outside looking in and from the inside looking out. So Kazuha was a character that, looking at his kit, it looked like ass. People were not looking at the character at all in terms of what it was going to bring to the table. Admittedly, though, I don't know if this Viridescent Veneer was in the game then or at that point, but I do remember Anemo getting a slight change. Whether or not that was a buff or a nerf, I don't remember, but Anemo, something changed with Anemo, and with that change, Kazuha was also released. And in that release, Kazuha, his entire banner was slept on. Skip, but the few people who did pull Kazuha immediately after his banner was gone, Kazuha was the best character in the game. He was invaluable to have in your account. He became this character that was absurd at everything that he did. Crowd control, defense shreds, his ultimate, did the swirl and it applied all the elements, and then you got the double swirl action, right? People figured out the double swirl stuff. He had so much stuff. His E was insanely good, right? The skill itself was insanely good. All these things that he had a part of his kit were phenomenal. Viridescent Veneer, or VV for short, that particular artifact set had its own things applied to it, and Nemo had its own buff applied to it. The game adjusted to make Kazuha strong, and it was indirect. It wasn't a direct buff like, oh, we're doing this for Kazuha. It was, no, we noticed that this particular class, this particular path is not performing the way we intended. We're going to adjust the game so that this particular class is now improved. And that was an indirect buff to make Kazuha even stronger than what he was. And to this day, Kazuha is one of the only characters that you can get a mostly 85% upvote, if you will. Like, I don't want to say unanimously, because I don't think it's unanimous, but I think amongst the community of Genshin Impact, we can mostly all agree Kazuha is the closest thing to a must-pull character in that game. If you don't have Kazuha and you have the opportunity to get him, everyone will tell you to get Kazuha. Versus like, oh, should I get Kazuha or should I get Hu Tao? Okay, do you have 9 DPS characters? Yeah, I've already got 4. Get Kazuha, right? It becomes one of those things where it's not a question on whether or not you should get this character. It's, can you get this character? That's the question. If you can get him, get him. But if you can't get him, then it's cool. But if it ever comes down to like, oh, Kazuha or blank, the answer has always been Kazuha. I've never seen a single argument or a single question like that where it's like, should I get Kazuha or somebody else? Everyone's answer is always Kazuha. It's Kazuha over everything else. And so that's why I say that character is the closest thing to a must pull from what I'm telling or what I'm seeing in Genshin Impact. Now, I bring you all that backstory. I tell you all that to relate the same things to Silverwolf. That statement that I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this video, that Silverwolf just became the Kazuha of Honkai Star Rail. I think that has a lot more meaning to it, and I'm explaining that through telling you why Kazuha was so legendary, so strong to this day in Genshin Impact. And I think Silverwolf has the same things. Now, there are some things that I need to state as a pretense. One, that was a year deep into Genshin Impact. It wasn't 2 months or a month or whatever after the game released. It was a year deep. The meta was already established. It was slowly developing, slowly changing here and there. But for the most part, things that were already in place were already in place. Kazuha came in. It took a little bit to discover it, and then he disrupted the meta. There were a lot of things that Kazuha did at that time that were very clear. No, this character is absolutely, you know, like the best in the game. He's this and that and the third. He brings so much potential, blah, 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 blah. Your account phenomenally increases, whatever the case may be. We are only a few months deep into Honkai Star Rail. And so me or anyone making a statement like this, where it's like Silverwolf is the closest thing to a must pull, while I do agree with my statement, and I will, you know, I will stand on that, I do admit it is a lot. It's way too early. You know, I had to speak with my boy Vantage on that. He gave me some different insight. It is way too early for me to say that claim or for anyone to make that claim. Now, granted, I trust my gut. I have very keen insight on a lot of the stuff when it comes to characters. I've yet to be wrong on a lot of things. I know some of y'all hear that all the time. It's not me glorifying or gloating that I'm right. It's just that, you know, when you trust your gut, you trust your gut. I do believe that about Silverwolf. However, I see that for a multitude of different reasons. If we could compare this to Kazuha for just a moment, the Viridescent Shred, right? The artifact shred from Anemo for Anemo in Genshin Impact. They have the defense shred, right? That's a debuff. Silverwolf naturally has this built into her kit. She is all about debuffs. She is a walking Viridescent veneer artifact set, if you will. Crowd control. She has this through entanglement, and with her break effect, you increase her break effect, you increase the strength of that crowd control. She has this now. It is single target compared to normally crowd control is like controls the crowd, if you will, multiple enemies at once. So this is single target. I'm willing to like let that argument slide, whatever the case may be, but entanglement is very strong, and it's something that we were only really seeing happen with Zila, but because Zila kills everything, you never really get to see entanglement in action. With Silverwolf having such an emphasis on weakness breaking enemies, we've seen so many more entanglements pop up over the last couple of days. There are new videos, there's new tech, there's new like, oh, entangle the enemy, do this, and you pop big boy damage, entangle the enemy, do your ult, and then, you know, you get XYZ damage off the ult and the entanglement pop, whatever the case may be. We've seen a lot more things with entanglement in mind because of that. So I do want to include the fact that entanglement is still some form of crowd control. It's just not AoE. Kazuha has an ultimate that, because of Swirl and its innate abilities, allows you to apply different elements to the enemy that it otherwise wouldn't be weak to because of the reaction. Silverwolf does this built into her kit. So she doesn't need the ultimate for that, but the ultimate does help in reducing the defenses, and reducing those defenses helps out the rest of the team do more damage. You can have ultimate up for Kazuha almost 24/7, right? Because of the E skill is so fast, ultimate lasts so long. And now with the new discovered stuff with Silverwolf, we're finding new stuff every day about this character. Again, it's only been a couple days, but still we're discovering a lot of new things because there's so many people like enjoying testing the character, because it's like one of those how do I put it, you know, oh, Silverwolf's ass, or Silverwolf's not great, no one should pull on her, skip her, Loach is the better pick, whatever. Now that people have pulled her and they're like, nah bro, this character's cracked, everyone's like, oh shit, wait, you guys were right, she really is good, I can't believe I thought this character was bad. That's where the community is coming to right now. And so a lot of these things are being discovered. Just like Kazuha can pretty much keep his ultimate up 24/7, Silverwolf can keep her ultimate up, or at least the effects of the ultimate up, 24/7. And what I mean by that is Silverwolf's ult lasts about 3 to 4 turns. Let's just go and check real quick. Here we go. So the ultimate lasts 3 turns. Within 3 turns, you can guaranteed get your ultimate back, especially if you're using her event light cone. It's free. Everyone has this. If you're playing the game right now, there's zero reason for you to not get this light cone. It's a free super imposition of 5. You get the free 40% effect hit rate, and whenever the enemy attacks a defense reduced enemy, you regenerate 8 energy. There's some math behind this that I won't get into specifically, but just know that doing this, having this light cone and doing the thing, you are getting your ultimate back before the 3 turns. There's a particular set, there's 2 of them actually, that will allow you to get your ultimate after literally 1 skill. You do ult, you do skill, you maybe take a hit, or you might get if you get a kill, you get the ultimate back immediately, just like that, guaranteed. If you take a hit after you do the ultimate and the skill, you get your ultimate back. If you do a basic attack, you immediately get your ultimate back. You literally get your ult back in 1 turn. There is almost a perfect 1 turn rotation to get your ult. Now granted, you don't need it because you have the ultimate's effect lasting for 3 turns, but that kind of goes into what I'm saying. Everything that, you know, essentially made Kazuha like this golden character, Silverwolf has built into her kit. He is the golden character. Now you get into the effect that Kazuha had on Genshin Impact at that time, which was the meta. Anemo got a slight adjustment in order to indirectly buff Kazuha. What just happened in the game? 1.1, we just got the effect resistance of the enemies reduced from 50% to 40%. And some of you think that 10% does not make a big difference, but it makes a huge difference. If we use the math that I showed you in my previous video or the previous Silverwolf guide and all the other math that's available from the other theory crafters that are on the game right now, at 50%, we needed, roughly speaking, anywhere between 130 to 150% of effect hit rate, depending on what you were trying to hit. At 40%, we need max 104%. You don't need anything more than 104%. Do you hear the difference in that? From 130 to 150 to the exact number of 104. If I want to get technical, you need 94% to 104%. That's a huge difference for just 10%. You get into her E2, which Kazuha's E2 is also busted. I think it gives him like a free 200% or 200 elemental mastery, which adds into all the damage that he's going to be able to do from himself and the team. Her E2 does something similar in the fact that whenever an enemy enters the battle, they immediately have their effect resistance reduced by 20%, which knocks the 40% down to 20%. What does this do for her? That means if you happen to have E2 the same way that you happen to have E2 on Kazuha, it opens up the door for a more damaging unit. So if I had a 20%, right? So theoretically, all enemies in the game have 20% or less effect resistance. That means I no longer need an effect hit rate body piece. I could change this to whatever the hell I wanted, right? If I wanted to make my Silverwolf that much stronger, I could straight up change this to crit rate. Now she's critting all the time. I could change this to a crit damage body piece. Now she's critting on that. I could make it an attack percent body piece with some crit rate, with some speed and crit damage. I could make a damaging unit. I no longer need the pan-galactic set, right? I don't need this anymore because of the 10%. I just don't need it, which means now I can turn this pan-galactic set into whatever the hell I want. I could do Space Sealing Station. I could do Inert Salcedo. I could go to Sprightly if I want the energy regen. I could do Fleet to help the team out. There's all kinds of things that I could do. And then whenever the game gives you new relics, you could still choose the more damaging relic. The damage on her skill and ultimates are also very close to Zila's own modifiers. 171%. What are we at? Level 8? I think my Zila also has a level 8 or level 9 skill. 206%. We are dangerously close to getting to that. And I say dangerous because Zila's a hunt character. This is normal, right? Having all that damage, that's normal for Zila. But to have a Silverwolf, a Nihility character, pumping out that much damage, that's not normal. My Jing Yuan only does 81% to all enemies of his attack at level 7. I need Lightning Lord. You see what I'm saying? Like, Jing Yuan needs Lightning Lord in order to get that same damage output. She just has it. She just gets it for free. All her Eidolons boost her damage, and they boost it by a ridiculous amount. I know I went over this in the guide, but I don't think some people might see that. This boosted on a stack base, right? So you can trigger this, boom, every 5 times, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You get the 20% increase on quantum damage. Then you get to E6. This stacks up to 5 times based off of however many debuffs you have. Boom. That's 100% extra damage. You essentially have E4, E6, that's 120% extra damage on top of the defense reduction they're getting from whatever you're doing, thanks to the effect resistance and them not being able to resist it. You get your ultimate back immediately thanks to everything that she has going on for her. This character is cracked out of her mind, and I love it. I'm not asking for a nerf or anything like that. I love Silverwolf as a character. I love the fact that they made her so damn strong. But lastly, we get into the whole team aspect, right? Like, oh man, team building with Silverwolf is so restrictive. Only mono teams work. And that'll have its own video because I think that whole thing is dumb. I hated it then. I hate it now. I really think that entire, like, oh, only mono teams work, these are her best teams, blah, blah, blah. That's dumb. We've already, some theory crafters, I don't know their names specifically. It's in the Discord that I'm in, and they go over everything. But some theory crafters, and then Goba told it to me too. Shout outs to Goba, by the way. Rainbow comp is becoming her best comp because of exactly what I said in my guide video. There was something that I mentioned in the guide video, and I said, if you're looking at Forgotten Hall, let's go to Forgotten Hall real quick. If I'm looking at Memory of Chaos and I'm looking to build a team in Memory of Chaos, right? Because there's nothing static about Memory of Chaos. I can change all my units. I can look at this. These are my 2 big enemies. Wind, imaginary, physical. That's for the Trampler, right? And I believe that's going to be 2 of them in 1 floor. Then I have the Decaying Shadow, which is also going to be 2 in 1 floor. Fire, lightning, wind. If I'm coming to Decaying Shadow, and for whatever reason, I don't have these other elements, but I know that I have Jing Yuan. I could bring my Jing Yuan. So I'm going to build a team based off of these elements, because why? I'm a smart player. I'm not going to bring what do we have here? I'm not gonna bring March 7th, Xing Sui, and Asta to this team, right? Oh, who is weak to anybody? Asta fire's the only thing that I can hit the King Shadow with. I can't hit the Trampler at all. I brought no elements to be able to hurt this thing at all. I'm not gonna bring this team. That's dumb. So you get into proper or smart team building, and I'm looking at what can I match here. Wind, okay, I do have a Bronya. I could probably slot Bronya on this team, or Sampo if I have a Sampo, and I'm probably gonna do that just for the sake of explaining things, right? Physical, I could bring Natasha. Fire, I could bring Himiko or Hook or whoever if I have her. Genuine is lightning. Imaginary, well, whatever the case may be. I'm going to build units that can help me take on this particular thing and reduce what Silverwolf has the opportunity to pick from. That way Silverwolf is going to guarantee they all get touched. Now lightning here for Decaying Shadow, I don't care about that. What I care about is this guy. He's not weak to lightning, so I'm going to bring things that can help me take this guy out. So what that would look like essentially would be me bringing Genuine. I would be bringing Silverwolf. Boom, boom. That's my two right there, right? I would probably bring Ting Yun because I want the extra buff, but if I didn't bring Ting Yun, now I'm looking at physical, I'm looking at wind, I'm looking at imaginary. So imaginary, I know that I have Welt, double Nihility, because Nihility is like a huge buff right now. It's great, it's awesome. It's gonna be its own thing. And then wind and physical. Well, I don't have a healer, right? So I can bring Natasha. I have now created a forced situation. Silverwolf cannot magically give the enemy wind. Doesn't work that way. She can't also give the enemy imaginary and physical because I already have them on my team, and it's already weak to these elements. Done. The only thing Silverwolf has to force on this thing is Quantum from herself and Lightning. Now, if I wanted to go a step further than this, and I wasn't thinking about the second one, which in this case is Decaying Shadow, I could just take off Jing Yuan and put Silverwolf or Zeela and call it a day. Now I'm only getting Quantum, they're all dead. But I don't want that. I want Jing Yuan, because Jing Yuan is also going to be able to hit Decaying Shadow, because I need to think about this character not having any weaknesses to my DPS, but I only have 1 or 2 DPSs. Silverwolf helps me with that. Now I come here, I just body Decaying Shadow because I'm always hitting her with my max damage on the DPS, and whatever Silverwolf happens to apply works in my favor. She applies physical and I break with Natasha for whatever reason, boom, bleed. She applies imaginary and I break with Welt for whatever reason, which I mean is actually pretty common, boom, imprisonment and slow. There's so many factors to this that make it better. So no mono team comps and they're fake mono team comps, by the way, guys. They're not even real mono teams. These are the teams that you're seeing people say are mono comp. 3 elements of the same thing and then 1 Silverwolf for Quantum. And this is no different than if you were to do something like this. If you had 2 Quantums and 2 of the other element, this is much better than 3 of the same element, right? Because it doesn't go 75-25. No, it's 50-50. But I'm saying all of this about team building because she is not as restrictive as people think she is. It's just that most people aren't using their brain to think about what they're like planning. They just want to bring characters, and I get it. I pull for this character. I want to play with the character, and I want to have fun with the characters that I choose to have fun with. That's fine. You could do that, but you can't blame the game or the character for not being quote unquote open or free to play or whatever the case may be, because you don't want to follow the game's law and order. There's a particular mechanic that's in the game, and you follow that in order to optimize or have the best results for your own outcome. You can play against it, I guess, but that's a challenge for yourself. That's not something that I'm gonna blame Silverwolf because Silverwolf doesn't let me bring whatever I want. I can't choose the element. This is bullshit. She's a trash character. No, you're just not following the game's mechanics because you don't even like them in the first place. So yes, I do think that Silverwolf is the Kazuha of this game. And what I mean by that is not only does she bring an insane amount of value to anybody's account, not only is she a character where if you were to ask me Silverwolf or the other character, I'm 100% of the time going to tell you Silverwolf, period. If you already don't have this character and you can get this character, I'm going to tell you to get Silverwolf. The only situations where I don't say that is right now, where we don't have another healer in the game besides Natasha, and the only way to get buy loot is random, right? You can't choose to get buy loot. I mean, you can if you spend enough money to get the 300 like I did, but whatever. Point being is that if you don't have buy loot or Japard, I won't even say like you need both, or Japard, you're probably going to want to pick up Locha. However, there are now arguments in place, which I've been making them lately, where if you don't even have a second healer, as you saw that previous team, I had Natasha in the other team. I could just straight up build a team it does so much damage so fast, I don't need to heal. I might be able to get away with Fire MC for that one. I could leave Natasha on the other team, Fire MC on the other team, and call it a done deal. I might be able to CC the enemy so much that they never get a chance to move, which means that I never have to worry about getting hit. I don't take as much damage, and then I obliterate them, because Silverwolf on any DPS team turns, if it took you 8 turns to beat Forgotten Hall all the way through and 3-starred, Silverwolf is the type of character that turns the 8 into 4. Now it takes you half the time, if not less time, to clear all of Forgotten Hall. Certain floors that I've struggled on without having Silverwolf, I've now been able to clear in three turns or less. It's ridiculous the amount of CC action with entanglement, the amount of turn reducing or turn order reducing, Zila herself being able to steal turns. All this crazy stuff happens once you get this character. And I understand that argument is a very tough argument to make without a lot of backup, right? If I can't back it up, that's fine. I'm not here to convince people that Silverwolf is a must pull. That's not what this video is about. What I am saying is that I do believe Silverwolf is very comparable to Kazuha. I think for the same exact reasons that Kazuha came into the game and shook up the game, shook up the meta, changed things, became a must pull. Even though it's early, I do think Silverwolf is that type of character. I've released a previous video going over Nihility and why Nihility has basically became the new erudition. You can check that out there. But as of right now, I am going over the fact that Silverwolf is a specific character that is, for the foreseeable future, from what we can tell based off of the things that I won't talk about, we know which characters are coming out. If I'm looking directly ahead, I know Loach is coming out. I know Kafka and Blade were teased, and anything after that I can assume would be Fu Xuan, because she's very prevalent in the story right now. So I'm just going based off of that. With those 4 characters in mind, none of them replace Silverwolf. In fact, they all benefit from Silverwolf. All of them benefit from Silverwolf, and Silverwolf makes those characters that much stronger. So yes, this character is here for the foreseeable future. What is that, 6-12 weeks ahead of time? That is months in advance. The meta is not going to shift so much that Silverwolf becomes obsolete. Why? Because they indirectly buffed her because of the Nihility thing with the effect resistance. She naturally has a very strong kit. She's buffed out of her mind. If for whatever reason we get an early rerun, now people are going to start getting E2s and E4s of her, which makes her a newborn DPS character on top of whatever else she's already doing, and she's already doing really good damage at E0. This character's cracked. She's absolutely OD. So yeah, she's the Kazuha of this game. Anyway, long-winded video, I know, man, but I got a lot to say about Silverwolf. I've been waiting to talk about this character, bro, and I'm so glad that I can finally start releasing videos talking about this character without feeling like I'm trapped and I can't say the wrong thing. And now we're here. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, do leave a like or dislike it if you didn't like it. Don't forget to subscribe if you made it to the very end of this video. Tell me how banana nut bread you think Silverwolf is. In fact, say that in the comments. If you made it this far in the video, let me know whether or not you think Silverwolf is banana nut bread, crusty, dusty, moldy bread. And with that out of the way, I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later.